Hey everybody, welcome back to Whiskey Central. If you're new here, my name is Shayla, and today we're reviewing Bunnahabhain 12yr. So I've got some history for you today, but if you want to skip around to other parts of the video, there's timestamps in the description box below. And if you enjoy whiskey reviews, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new videos. Bunnahabhain means mouth of the river in Gaelic, and it was built in 1881 and started production in 1883. And it was designed to mimic a Bordeaux chateau. They built houses around the distillery as well as a road and a pier for shipping. That all cost about £30,000 at the time, which is £2.6 million today. And the entire facility was designed to use gravity flow to move its liquids. A few years later, the company was struggling, and they joined Glenrothes to form Highland Distillers, which would go on to acquire Glenglassaugh, Tamdhu, and Highland Park. The 1960s brought a huge demand for blended whiskey, and Bunnahabhain added 2 more stills and new washbacks, each with a capacity of 100,000 liters, and their total capacity doubled to 2.5 million liters. During this time, Bunnahabhain produced a heavily peated whiskey of about 35 to 40 parts per million, and it was used mostly in blends. But they stopped their own maltings in 1963, and they moved away from making peated whiskeys. They switched to unpeated and were then used for blends like Famous Grouse and Cutty Sark. In 1979, they released their first 12-year single malt with the tagline, "The Unpronounceable Malt." And in 1993, the last supply boat docked on their shore, because the road was becoming a more suitable form of travel. In 2003, Bunnahabhain was sold to Burn Stewart for £10 million. And in 2010, there was a huge shift in quality for Bunnahabhain. Ian McMillan was the head at Burn Stewart, and he convinced his superiors that there was more flavor and texture compared to their 40% chill-filtered counterparts, and he was given the go-ahead to up the ABV to 46.3%, as well as non-chill filtering and only allowing for natural color in their range of whiskeys. This also changed with other brands from Burn Stewart like Tobermory and Deanston. This 10-year run came to an end when Distell bought out Bunnahabhain in 2013. So some cool stuff about the production at Bunnahabhain. They have 2 fermentation cycles. One for 48 hours that's ready to distill that week, and one for 110 hours that's ready to distill the next week. The spirit from both of those fermentations is blended together before it's put into a cask. Bunnahabhain also has very large stills, the tallest on Islay at 20 feet 10 inches. They have a very low fill level on their stills, which creates more reflux and copper contact, resulting in a lighter whiskey. Alright, so let's get into the details of this whiskey. This bottle will run you about $60. It's owned by Distell, and it's located on the northeast coast of Islay in Scotland. It's 12 years old, 46.3% ABV, made from 100% malted barley. It's double matured in ex-bourbon and ex-sherry casks, and it's non-colored and non-chill filtered. Alright, well, I'm going to pour a dram of this, let it sit for about 10 minutes, and I'll be right back. Alright, it's actually a new day, but I've let this dram open up for about 10 minutes. Let's go on the nose. So it's kind of nose warming. It's this wonderful freaking balance of sherry and ex-bourbon. Like, I don't know if you could get more well-balanced in terms of those kind of notes. Yeah, you get that vanilla. It's like a vanilla cream and caramel. And then that sherry comes in. You've got kind of the typical notes, like raisins, dates, figs, but for me, the raisins come through really, really well. It's kind of nutty too. I think that Oloroso comes through. A little bit of chocolate as well. It's just super fruity. You also have like orange and apricot going on. And then this for me is always fun whenever I get a tea or tobacco note. And I'm kind of getting that with this. A little bit of tea, a little bit of tobacco. Also some baking spices. Just kind of general, like, cinnamon, clove, kind of. And then, kind of along with that sherry sweetness, like that raisin sweetness, I'm also getting honey and maybe a little bit of butterscotch. Yeah. Let's go on the palate. Cheers, guys. Oh, man. That tastes so freaking good. So, I get a little bit of sweet, a little bit of salt. That oak kind of comes through. A little bit more on the palate than it did on the nose. The raisins are off the charts ridiculous. I mean, it's not fully sherry matured, but you get so much raisin on the palate. It's wonderful. Get a little bit of baking spice too. Let's go for another sip. Cheers. So I'd say medium finish. It's got got a really nice body, really nice texture. It's a little bit drying on the back of the palate in like the best way. And yeah, just those raisins come through. It's ridiculous. This is wonderful. So I'm going to finish this dram up and I'll be right back with my recommendation. I really enjoy this whiskey. It's sherry, it's unpeated, but there is still this Islay character that it's present in this whiskey. It's 46.3% ABV, it's non-colored and non-chill filtered. You can't really ask for much more, so this is probably always going to be on my bar. If you like this, you could go for something like the Bunnahabhain 18yr, or if you want to try something with a bit of smoke, you could go for the Tochekada. If you want to branch out from Bunnahabhain, you could go for another unpeated Islay with Bruichladdich, the classic Lottie, or you could jump over to Campbelltown for a Glen Scotia double cask. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Whiskey Central. Next week, I'll be reviewing something that my patrons vote on. If you want to see behind-the-scenes content, Patreon-exclusive live streams, and vote on what I review next, I'll have a link to my Patreon page in the description box below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. And today we're... And the entire facility would... Okay, I need to practice that, because clearly not ready. Okay, some asshole dropped these little kittens off in front of my house. So, I don't know if you can hear them, but they're trying to get into my office right now, and I can't have them in my office because I'm really afraid there's so much glass and so many bottles, and I have a bad feeling they're going to break them, so we're just not doing that today. But if you hear meowing in the middle of my stream, that's why. Okay, hopefully that's good enough. The only one where the cats weren't meowing, so yeah. Released their first single malt. God damn it! This stuff's good. A delicate coastal influence. I would agree with that. Sometimes tasting notes are bullshit, but I dig it. I dig it. By the way, guys, we're almost at 50 patrons. It fluctuates, which I totally understand, but we're at 49 patrons right now, and I don't even care if it's for a day. If I just see that 50 patron mark, I'm like, I did not think that would happen anytime soon. Like, I haven't even been on Patreon for, I think I've only been on for like 6 months, so it's just bananas. So thank you to everyone that has become a patron. Seriously, I don't know. It's just an awesome little group, and I don't know if you guys, well, we'll figure it out, but we might do like a Patreon Facebook group or something. I know there's a bunch of Facebook groups out that have like so many members, it's kind of hard to get to know people, so it might be kind of nice to have a little tight-knit, Facebook group, Patreon community or something like that. So we'll see how it goes, but love y'all. See you tomorrow for the live stream. I think we got Matt over the Whiskey Crusaders for this one, or is this one? Yeah, I think Matt from the Whiskey Crusaders will be on today. If not, it's the Bourbon Junkies. I can't remember, but it's one of those two. It'll be a fun live stream either way, so see you guys in a few hours if you're watching this on Saturday.